everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back with another video, and this time we'll be doing a beautiful set of neon yellow nails. So of course the first thing that I'm doing is I'm just going in with a pair of nippers, and I'm just removing that bling. And then also, as you've seen on her other hand, we are gonna have to do a repair. So the first thing that I'm doing after that is just going ahead and removing the gel polish from the nails. And also remember that when we're doing this, we're also just filing the acrylic down just a little bit, especially around the cuticle area. If you have any lifting, you want to make sure that you use your drill bit to get rid of the lifting. You don't want to go in there with a pair of nippers because you're only going to make the lifting worse. Now, if it's lifted a lot, then you want to make sure you go ahead and remove that nail and just replace it. But again, if you have lifting, just go ahead and use your drill bit. But as you can see, this is the nail that we had to repair. She broke the tip off, so instead of using a forearm, I'm gonna go ahead and just file down the acrylic as much as I can, and then I'm gonna soak it off by using a cotton ball with acetone and the little clips. And then also remember that when you're shopping for a drill bit to remove gel polish, you want to make sure that you get either a coarse drill bit or an extra coarse drill bit to help, speed up the process. Also make sure that it is a safety one, which means that the top of the drill bit is going to be rounded. And that way, if you accidentally file on their skin, you're not going to cut them, because since it is a coarse drill bit or an extra coarse, they are going to be sharp. So again, make sure that when you're looking for a drill bit to remove gel polish, that you get an extra coarse or just coarse safety drill bit. After I finish removing the gel polish, I'm going in with a cuticle pusher and we're just pushing back those cuticles. Remember that when you're doing this just exposes the new growth and also helps with reducing lifting. So we're going to go ahead and do that on both hands. And after we finish pushing back the cuticles, we're going to go in with the sanding band. It's going to be a 180 sanding band, and that's going to just help with removing the shine from the natural nail. That way our nails do not lift. So again, this is a 180 sanding band. The drill that I'm using is the Scarlet drill by McCart. As you guys know, I did do a video about it a while back, so I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. But again, this is a 180 sanding band. We're just removing the shine from the natural nail. Make sure that you go from the right side over to the left side. Also making sure that you remove all of the shine from the natural nail. The way to know if you remove the shine is literally by just looking at the nail and looking to see if you still see any shiny spots. And if you do, then of course just go in and file a little bit more. But we're going to go ahead and finish removing the shine, and then we're going to move on to the next step. Alrighty, so now we just dust the nails off and I'm going in with the primer, and this time I'm using the Young Nail Protein Bond. The reason why is because I've actually been experiencing a little bit more lifting than usual, which is rare, I guess I could say. I honestly don't know where the lifting is coming from, so I kind of had to do like a process of elimination, and I still don't even know if I got it under control. But I did switch out my acrylic for a new bottle of liquid and powder. I don't know if maybe I got a bad batch. I also switched my primer from using the OPI to the Young Nail Protein Bond. I also got a new drill bit, the safety drill bit, and I've been making sure that I prep the nail really good. So when stuff like this happened, it's literally like you have to do a process of elimination and just switch things around to see, you know, what were you doing wrong, because honestly I have no idea, and it's very stressful. But again, as always, I'm using my Mia Secret acrylic system in the color pink, and I'm using my alpha brush in a number 10. And just like any other time when we're doing a fill, we place the bead closer to the cuticle area, patting it down and brushing it down towards the tip. And then also, of course, if you get any acrylic on the skin, be sure to wipe it off as soon as it gets on the skin, because if not, it will dry up really quickly and it could cause the nail to lift. And then also remember that when you clean around the cuticle area with your brush, you want to make sure that you wipe your brush off on the paper towel really good before you even go around that cuticle area, because if not, you're gonna put that acrylic that's on the brush on the skin, and it's gonna defeat the purpose of you cleaning around the cuticle area. Also, as you can see, when I'm doing the nails, I'm lifting the finger up to look at it from the sides to make sure that we have a nice apex as well as, you know, nice thickness at the tip, because especially when they're stiletto, they will break off really easily if they're really thin and if you don't have a nice apex. So we're going to go ahead and continue doing the same thing, applying that first bead around the cuticle area, patting it down and then brushing it down towards the tip. And remember, if you need to add more acrylic towards the tip, you know, say your tip is too thin, then that's totally fine. Don't think that you can only apply one bead and be done. Now, if you are a beginner, I do recommend that you work with a little product at a time. That way you don't add too much acrylic and then you're having to do a lot of filing at the end. Remember, you want to work smarter and not harder. So same thing for the other hand. We place that bead closer to the cuticle area. As you can see, I pat it down and then really gently brushing it down towards the tip. Whenever you're brushing it down, it's more of like a feathering motion because you're being very gentle when you're brushing it. I have experienced let me see. Before, this is a long time ago, but one time when I was doing acrylics, like I realized that if you brush too hard, it's like you're removing that liquid out of the powder and liquid ratio, I could say, and it makes the acrylic dry really fast, and then it gets really bumpy, if that makes sense. So make sure that you're very gentle when you're brushing the acrylic towards the tip. And then also, as you can see, I wipe the sides of the nails as well, and that just kind of helps with making sure that the acrylic does not take away from my shape. But again, I'm using my Mia's Secret acrylic system in the color pink, which is a really translucent pink. And the brush that I'm using is my number 10 alpha brush in an oval shape, so I'll be sure to leave the link in the description. And then also, if you haven't checked out my video on how to clean and restore your acrylic brush, I'll be sure to leave the link in the description, because I know that a lot of people, especially beginners, mess up their brush very quickly or easily because they don't know how to properly clean it off. But as always, I clean my brush off after each set. You want to make sure you do this literally, I cannot stress this enough, literally after each set, because if not, your brush is going to have acrylic in it and it's going to get hard and it's going to be a disaster and you're going to mess it up. So again, I'll be sure to leave that link in the description. It's a really quick and to the point video about how to clean or restore your brush if it's already messed up. But we're going to go ahead and finish off this hand. We only have one more finger to go, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and do the ring finger, which was the nail that I'm repairing. And I took off the little cotton ball and the clip, and I'm just going to file away that acrylic that's already soaked off. After this, we're going to go ahead and just push back the cuticles, remove the shine from the natural nail, and apply the nail tips. As you can see there, I was only filing on the nail where the acrylic was with the quartz drill bit, and then once that was soft, we're going in with the 180 sanding band and we're just removing the shine. And then again, after this, we're going to be applying the tip, and we're going to use the KDS glue. Make sure that when you're applying the nail tip that it's the correct size. You want it to go from one side of the nail to the other, and then apply the glue and place it on the nail and hold it down for a few seconds, and then you're good to go. Remember that you do want to make sure that you measure the nail against the other one to make sure that they are the right size. But her nails, they were already really long, so I didn't have to cut them down. We're now shaping the nails, so we're doing a stiletto shape. So we're going to alternate from one side and the other, making sure that we file on each side the right, or not the right, but the same amount of times. That way, you know, our nail doesn't end up crooked. And make sure that when you're filing, you're watching your shape, because your shape will change as you're filing and you don't want your nail to be crooked. After you finish filing, we're going to go ahead and blend the nail tip right in the middle, and then we're going to go ahead and make sure that we have that perfect shape. After this, we're going to just dust the nail off, apply the primer. Again, I'm using the Young Nail Protein Bond, and then we're going to apply the acrylic. So when we're doing a full, I guess not a full set, but a new nail, I guess I could say, we place the bead right in the middle of the nail where the natural nail and the tip meets, patting it down, and then just gently brushing it down towards the tip. Next, we're going to apply the second bead right below that one. Also remember that, you know, say my first bead was good enough to where I had a nice thickness at the tip, then you don't necessarily have to go back in and add another bead at the tip, because that's just going to make the tip a lot thicker, and you don't want it to be super thick. So as you can see, that second one I applied a little bit behind that first one, and then pat it down and brushed it down towards the tip. Again, it's really important that you look at the nail from the sides when you're working, because that's going to determine whether you need to add more acrylic at the cuticle area or at the tip or in the middle. But you won't know unless you look at it from the sides. Whenever you look at it from the top, it might look really nice and even and smooth, but looking at it from the side, again, it's gonna tell you exactly what you need to do next. So we're gonna go ahead and finish off this nail, and then we can move on to the next step. Alrighty, so now we're gonna go in and just reshape the nails. So same thing, we're just following on the sides at a 45-degree angle and just making sure that we get that, I guess I could say, pointiness that we want. Of course, if your client wants their nails more rounded, then you would round the tip off. But for this, we're just following at a 45-degree angle on each side. And remember, make sure that you pay attention to your shape. You don't want your nails to be crooked, and if they are, like say your nail is leaning to the right, you want to make sure that you file on that right side to kind of even it out and make it go, you know, towards the left side, if that makes sense. But you want to make sure that you pay attention to what you're doing, because if not, you will miss things like this. But after we finish reshaping the nails, we're going to go in with the fine drill bit to file the nails. Alrighty, so now we're just going in with the fine drill bit, and we're just following around the cuticle area first. As always, start from the right side, go over to the left side, just go back and forth until you're able to see where the natural nail is, or actually where the cuticle is, where the natural nail is, and where the acrylic is. That way you know that the acrylic is not on the skin. So remember, start around the cuticle area, go back and forth until you're able to see the natural nail, and then follow the rest of the nail. That way it's all nice and smooth. But usually if you are a beginner, you might have to do a little bit more filing, just because it's a little bit harder to, you know, get really smooth nails when you're first starting off doing nails. So again, to remove any of those bumps, you're gonna have to just file the nails. I know I've had people before telling me how they've already filed the nails, but the nails are still bumpy. What can they do? And the only thing you can do is just file the nails until they're nice and smooth. It is going to take a little bit longer than usual, but that's the only thing you can do. Alrighty, so after we finish filing the nails, we're going to go in with the buffer and we're just going to buff all of the nails. Remember, this is just going to make sure that the nail is really nice and smooth, because after you file the nails with the e-file or the hand file, it will leave scratches on the nail, and this is just going to get rid of them. You want to make sure that you don't skip this step, because if you do, you will be able to see those scratches through your polish. And trust me, I've had a lot of people tell me how they don't do this and their nails are pretty rough after they or when they apply the polish. So you want to make sure that you don't skip this step and just buff them really good. As you can see, I use my thumb to feel on the top of the nail to make sure that it's smooth. If not, I go in and buff a little bit more. Alrighty, so now I'm just wiping off the nails with an alcohol wipe to make sure that we get any of that dust off. And after this, we're going to go ahead and start with the polish application. So the colors that I'm going to be using today is this French Vanilla by D&D, and I'm also going to be using Lemon Juice, also by D&D. As you guys know, I get my D&D polishes from my local nail supply store. They come in a dual pack, which means it comes with a regular nail polish and a gel polish. I honestly don't know that they sell them separate anywhere. I know I've had that question before, that I think they only sell them in a box with both of those, but they're really affordable. I only pay like $7.50 for the pack, and they have a really big selection. So again, we did the French Vanilla on the ring finger and the middle finger, and then we're going in with the lemon juice on the rest of the nails. These are gel polishes, or the ones that I'm using are the gel polishes. So of course, we're gonna have to cure for 30 seconds in between each coat. Alrighty, so same thing for this hand. We're doing the ring finger and middle finger with the French Vanilla and the rest with the lemon juice. And also the little brush that I'm using to clean around the cuticle area is actually the Mia Secret gel brush. The reason why I'm using that one is because the one that I usually use by Alpha Brush, I ordered the wrong size, so it's a little bit too small. So this one came in handy, but I just dip it into my little dapping dish with acetone, wipe it off on a paper towel where it's not soaking but it's damp, and then just clean around that cuticle area to remove any of the gel polish that's on the skin. And you do want to make sure that, of course, you do this before you put it under the light. So we're going to go ahead and finish off this hand. After this, we're going to go back to the other one and do a second coat, and again curing for 30 seconds in between each coat. Alrighty, so now that this hand is cured, we're going to go ahead and use a small nail art brush. And I'm using that same gel polish in the color Lemon Juice. And I'm just doing an outline on this middle finger. Again, this is just a small nail art brush. These are the same ones that I had on my website. Now I'm going to go in with the Soleil nail adhesive and I applied it on the nail, and now I'm just going to go in with some bling and of course my wax pencil. I used a big piece, which is the rhombus. Is this a rhombus? Yeah, I think it's a rhombus. And then I'm using my SS6 and SS12 and we're going to do it like on the side of the nail. Remember that if you need to add more of the gel resin, just apply it as you go. Honestly, the Soleil nail bling adhesive, I feel like it works really good, but it dries really fast when I apply it on the nail, so I have to just apply just a little bit at a time. And then also I realized that I have to apply it kind of thick on there, because if not the bling won't just stay, or I don't know if it's because it dries so fast, but I don't think I've been using it long enough to know if it like just works really good for me. But so far, like, I did it on my nails and I've lost more bling than I usually do when I use the Mia Secret gel resin, but I'm gonna keep trying it out and let you guys know how it works. But as always, just like we do with the Mia Secret gel resin, we have to spray with the activator. So that's what you seen me do right before we moved on to the other finger. But then for the middle finger, we're gonna do an SS12 in the middle, and then I'm also using some gold caviar and we're applying it around the one in the middle. And then as you can see, it dries really fast, so I had to go in and just nip it off because it was crooked, so I had to go in and adjust it. So it definitely dries really fast even without the gel resin, which is a big plus for me. But we're gonna go ahead and finish off this nail and then we'll move on to the next one. Alrighty, so I'm finishing off this finger, and then for the next one, we're gonna also do a mixture of the SS12, SS6, as well as the gold caviar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spray the nails with the activator one more time. And then we're going to go ahead and apply the Madam Glam Gel Top Coat on all of the nails. And then we're going to put them under the light for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the other hand. So again, we're using a mixture of our SS6, SS12. I used a big piece, which is a rhombus, and then we're using some gold caviar as well. Again, it's the exact same thing we did on the other hand. Once we're done applying the bling, we're going to spray the nails with the Mia Secret Gel Resin Activator, and then we're going to apply the Madam Glam Gel Top Coat and curing for 60 seconds. Alrighty, so we're finishing off this hand. We're applying the top coat and then we're going to let them cure. So here is the final look. They turned out so pretty. I love that neon yellow and nude together. They just look so good, and that bling just topped everything off. So as always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at GetNailDirty2, and I'll see you guys next time.